Hey guys, welcome back to another Tasting Tuesday. I got the Hawaiian shirt on today. We're going a little summer vibes. Summer for the holidays. So this is one of my favorite new type of tequilas. It's a clear añejo tequila that has been charcoal filtered. So they age it and then they filter it, and it becomes clear. Like you can see here. I think the official term is like Cristalino. Don Julio 70, they say it's the original Crystal Claro Tequila. So everybody's kind of has a different name for it. Basically, they're taking the tequila, aging it for a year, filtering it to make it clear again, and then bottling it. So you're going to get the richness of the añejo, but also it's still going to have that clean agave lightness that you get with a Blanco. It's kind of the best of both worlds, and I think it's a really fun holiday drink. If tequila is your drink and you want something new and unique for the holidays, put on a Hawaiian shirt and pick yourself up a Cristalino clear tequila. Don Julio, one of my favorite producers, and most of you know that I've talked about it on the show a couple times. I've never done a Don Julio review. It was the tequila I had at my wedding. I had the reposado in my signature cocktail. I've always been a big fan of Don Julio. I think the price is really good. I think the richness of the agave is very well balanced. You get a lot of vanilla and wood and kind of oak influence, and I just think it's got a really great flavor to it. I know some people say, oh, there might be additives in it. It's a big brand. I'm trying to find something off the beaten path. Great. I mean, those tequilas we've reviewed as well. El Tequiliano, Tequila Ocho, Fortaleza, G4. But Don Julio is great. So I highly recommend Don Julio. But the 70, I just picked this up a couple days ago. So I've tried it before, but let's dive in to the tasting here. Wow, immediately I'm hit with that Don Julio aroma. That agave, you get vanilla, wood, a hint of spice. Maybe a little bit of cherry or pineapple. The reposado has a real pineapple flavor to it, and where the añejo, I feel like it moves more into cherry, a little more sour fruit. It's definitely smoother. I don't like the word smoother because to each his own on the smoothness of a liquor. But the cherry is more prominent in the añejo. And this isn't añejo, like I said, it's just charcoal filtered. So I'm getting kind of a blend of the two, like the pineapple, the cherry. A lot of vanilla, a lot of agave. It all kind of smells cooked, like it's been cooked together into a cherry pound cake or a pineapple pound cake or a pineapple upside down cake. Let's give it a taste. The spice comes through right away. I'm hit with that agave, that clean, spicy. It's definitely got some more heat to it than I was expecting. I think the alcohol is a little more prominent on this than the actual añejo. Like I said, kind of bringing it back to that Blanco vibe. But the richness and the depth of this flavor is way beyond a Blanco. It's somewhere in that añejo reposado world. Wow. I get that cherry, the fruit, dried pineapple, dried cherry. I get the agave. There's a really rich vanilla, a wood oak note that I think is kind of giving that hint of vanilla. I think they age it in American oak, but I'm getting a lot of vanilla. Usually American oak tends to be a little milder than, say, French oak or a different type of oak. Yeah, it says it's aged in American white oak barrels, filtered to bring out the freshness of Blanco in a pure crystal color. Yeah, so they do age it in American oak. Whew. I mean, this is really good. I think this is the first filtered tequila. I believe I looked that up earlier. And in Mexico, I had this on our honeymoon, and it was 70 because it was actually 70 proof. It was only 35% alcohol. And I think I've mentioned this on the channel before, but in Mexico, most of the tequila is bottled at 38%, where in America, it's usually bottled at 40%. And I think anything over 38, I was reading that they have to pay an extra tax to increase the alcohol level. And then these new, Cristalinos or the clear tequilas that have been filtered, they're kind of more of an after dinner, put it in the fridge, have it chilled, sort of after dinner tequila, and they lower the proof down to 70 proof, 35%, and I think that's where the 70 comes from. Here, because it's in America, it's actually 80 proof, not 70, and they say it's for the 70th anniversary edition. So I'm sure both of those numbers came into the marketing of this. In Mexico, it's the 70 proof. In America, it's the 70th anniversary. What's so interesting about this is the richness of the flavor. I wouldn't say it's as rich and as oaky and complex as a regular añejo. I think the filtering does kind of bring down the intensity and the complexity of it. But this is not a Blanco. I mean, this is definitely elevated. It's a really unique experience. I think for people who love tequila, who haven't tried any of this clear tequila, I think just pick up one that you can find at your local Costco or at a local liquor store, because I think there's some the Herradura is really good. 1800 makes one that's pretty decent. Doble makes one. There's a lot of these coming on the market. And I believe over 30% of tequila made in Mexico now is the filtered clear tequila. So I would say if you're really looking for that rich flavor, trying to get more into that whiskey zone, I think a regular añejo or extra añejo would probably be the best bet. But the drinkability of this and the smoothness of it, it also feels light. It's like every sip you're kind of getting hints of the añejo, but also hints of the Blanco, and it's kind of got this really interesting balance that I haven't really tasted in a lot of tequilas before. I think this is a really fun around the holidays. That's why I'm doing this video right now, because if you're going to do shots with it, or you're going to mix it, or you're going to sip it over ice or neat, I think this is an all-around really fun tequila, and people will say, ooh, that's richer than a normal tequila that I've had before, and there's just more complexity to it, which I feel like around the holidays, big meals, big food, big drinks, right? And so this is definitely a highly recommended tequila. Not as flavorful as I initially thought when I picked it up. I thought it was going to be, a little more oomph to it, but I was really blown away with how drinkable it is. And I think you could sip on this all night, and because of the clear liquor, it's easily digestible, and I'm sure that you're not going to have a huge hangover from drinking some Don Julio 70 versus if you had the aged tequila with the wood in there and all the stuff in there, it definitely increases your hangover. So I think if you're going to party and looking for something fun and unique and new, Don Julio 70. I'd give it a try. Out of 10, I would give this an 8.1 out of 10 for uniqueness. Again, I thought the flavor was just slightly mellowed compared to what I was expecting from the añejos I had before from Don Julio, especially the 1942, which I love. It is not that rich, but it is almost there, 80%, 75% of the way there, and it's clear and it's fun, it's unique. So I would give this a try. Don Julio 70. Really cool stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another tasting.